Well, happy Thursday, and happy Taco Thursday, everybody. It is Taco Thursday, and it's Tacos and Touchdown Live, and we have a special guest, host of the Boys in the Zone podcast. And I think this is your second time, and it's EJ Savage. How's it going?
How you doing, man? I'm excited to be on the show. I think it is my second time, so
Yeah,
always a pleasure getting on. And I think that you've been on my show a handful of times as well. So
yes, sir.
we're friends now. You
Yeah,
know, man.
yeah. At this point, when you've been on here for like two or three times, you're basically friend and family of the show. So that
There we
I
go.
So you didn't have to say guest anymore. Like hey, you can get chips there, or you want to get a drink out of the fridge. I ain't gonna trip or nothing like that. That's how.
Make yourself at home,
Yeah,
kind of
make yourself.
vibes.
Yes, sir. So before we get into the show, I got this new question I came up with. So if there's like three sports analysts in any sport, who would you like to pick their brain and just enjoy eating tacos with?
Three sports analyst. Um, I think I would go because this is a easy answer. It's just Joe Rogan because he commentates for the UFC. He
Yeah,
has his own podcast. He gets different guests on. He's just talked to so many different people. You know what I mean? From all different walks of life. It would be kind of fun to talk to him. I would definitely have to pick Tony Romo. Just he's my favorite all time cowboy.
okay.
Um, and even though sometimes like I kind of cringe at some of the stuff he says as an analyst, it's just I would just want to see what football and NFL life is about, especially as QB1, and his kind of journey, and just learn everything I could about that and how to kind of apply it into my videos and stuff like that would be really cool. Um, and then gotta think an analyst. I'd probably pick maybe like Paul Pierce just because I'm a big KU Jayhawks fan and Boston
Okay.
Celtics fan. So, some of the stuff he says is a little outlandish,
Yeah.
but I just think it'd be cool because he's one of the biggest reasons why I am a Celtics fan is just because I was a huge Kansas Jayhawks fan, and so just talking to him, chilling, eating some tacos sounds like a good time.
Yeah, that's a good listener. I wasn't expecting Paul Pierce. I didn't know you were a Celtics fan.
Yes, sir. Been a Celtics fan for shoot, what are we, 2024? So I made my decision when I was a kid and we were still pretty bad. So it had to be like early 2000s.
Oh,
But yeah, and then the 2008 team came around and it was actually kind of fun to be a Celtics fan. And we kind of went to a couple other championships, lost unfortunately. And now I'm trying to see Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, my guy Derek White.
yeah.
Svi Mikhailuk, who's another former KU Jayhawk, he's on the team as well.
Mhm.
Just hoping to see a championship run this time around.
I get you. That Derek White one kind of hurt me. I'm a Spurs fan. I got the thing in the back. So
Yeah,
like, I was kind of hurt when they traded him away because Derek White plays on both ends of the court. He's just an overall great player to have on the team. So
yeah,
I got a great addition on that team.
absolutely, man.
Yeah,
He's fun to watch.
yeah, absolutely. So getting into our first topic is the Cowboys actually are making some Cowboy news a little bit. Now they had a meeting with Zay Jones. He had a meeting with the Cardinals before that and the Titans, and today I think he had a meeting with the Chiefs. So what are your thoughts of like Zay Jones possibly being the Dallas Cowboys? Because he hasn't signed with anybody yet.
Yeah, so the first thing about Zay Jones is he's a bigger guy. He's like 6'2", over 200 pounds. He plays mostly on the outside, which is a fit for this team, especially losing Michael Gallup. So I would like the fit. He's not, crazy talented. He's got some good speed. Um, But overall, I think he'd just be a good addition to kind of hedge your bet on, okay, are we really going to kind of crown Jalen Tolbert wide receiver 3 before we even see what he has in training camp? So just bringing that competition. He's also a Texas guy, anyways. Get him home and hopefully he can flourish a little bit better than he has in Jacksonville. But yeah, it's just a solid player. He's not going to be required to be a guy that you are expecting 800 yards from.
Yeah,
But if you can get more competition for Jalen Tolbert, that's always a good thing.
yeah, I definitely agree. He's on the fringe between being that third or fourth receiver on the team, and
Hmm.
now you wouldn't mind that. And then he has that versatility play inside and outside. like you said, he's not the most talented guy, but he's a reliable type of guy. Like I know last year he had dealt with injuries, but the year before that he had like over 800 yards. But you're not really
Mhm.
expecting him to be in that range. If he can get you between 300 to 500 yards a year this year, you can, and it's going to be probably a good solid deal. It'll probably be with some incentive based due to the fact they had injuries and some other things going on.
Yeah.
But he can make those like those tight window catches at times, like how you got with Gallup at times. But it just can he stay healthy? Like is this kind of a trend in the next year? He's going to be kind of that injured guy, and and you got you. We've been getting a lot
Yeah.
of, and you just don't want that to be.
It's interesting because, like, if you asked me, I would probably say I would rather have Jalen Tolbert as wide receiver 3 over him. But having him as wide receiver 4 is also a good thing too because it just adds another player that can play inside out. He can play some slot, but he plays mostly outside, and I always think that's a good thing is just having those
Yeah.
versatile players around. And then
Mhm.
like Brandon Cooks and Turpin are kind of your smaller guys. I don't want to see another slot only kind of guy. And CD
Yeah.
really works great out of the slot too. Of course, Brandon Cooks can work outside as well, just because he's a really good route runner. But um, it's one of those things, man. I want to see somebody that can play outside in instead of inside out more.
Mhm.
So Zay Jones fits that bill for me. Um, and we'll get into some other names a little bit
Oh yeah.
on the show too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's crazy to think that if we add Zay Jones, he'll be literally the tallest receiver we got on the roster. I think between him and Ryan Flournoy, who we got, but everybody else is
Yep.
kind of like that 6'1", 6 foot, and maybe a little shorter than that. So
Yeah.
it'd be good to get a bigger receiver out there.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah. So until now we're kind of getting to that topic about free agency. Like there's still some decent free agents out there, even though it is May. Like who are like three free agents that you think that be the best fit on the Cowboys?
Well, there's multiple names that I
Yeah.
believe that the Cowboys should go after they possibly get cut from another team, in particular like running backs from other teams that
Okay.
have surplus of talent, Miami Dolphins,
Mhm.
Jets, some of those teams come to mind. But current free agents, one of the biggest ones would be Michael Thomas for me. I know that he's been injured in the past, but just knowing how well he works with those specific routes that go hand in hand with the West Coast offense,
Yeah.
i.e. your slants, your quick digs, um, your little seven routes, mesh concepts, etc. I think that he would be a really good fit, and he doesn't have to be your wide receiver 1. You're bringing him as like a wide receiver 3, and I think that can help with some of the younger guys' development on your team already. It just depends on the number he wants. Obviously, he's had, I think it's like 3 straight seasons where he hasn't really been healthy.
Yeah.
But when he has been healthy and good, especially with Drew Brees, I mean, he was an all pro. So if you can maybe see a little flash in the plan of resurgence of Michael Thomas, I'd definitely be interested in that.
Yeah, and also that's another family tie because his uncle Keyshawn Johnson played for us for a little bit, so
Yeah,
Th
there you
that
go.
that may reel in the Cowboys' interest a little bit too. Maybe they can get a nice little contract going because I wouldn't mind Michael Thomas because you're not like you said, you're not expecting him to be wide receiver 1, that's CD, and then you got Brandon Cooks, but him as that wide receiver 3, that's not a bad deal at all just to have him. But who's like your
Absolutely.
who's your second guy?
Yeah, another guy would be a reunion kind of a player, and that's
Okay.
Randall Cobb. Um, we've seen the last time Dak had Randall Cobb, he was a very, very good weapon for this team. Obviously, he's older now, and truthfully, I expect him to probably get repaired with Aaron Rodgers there with the Jets. But just a guy that you're familiar with already. He's not scheme dependent. He can work out of the West Coast
Mhm.
offense, or he can work out of whatever happens if because I mean people aren't looking at this enough. Mike McCarthy, depending upon the schedule and how it shapes out, if you drop 3 of your first 5 games, realistically Mike McCarthy could be out of here early, and then that takes your offensive coordinator off of the your play caller at least out of the building. So do they still stick with the West Coast stuff? Obviously, they probably continue with that with Brian Schottenheimer, but it might be different concepts. It might be different stuff on the table. So that's something to keep in your head. But yeah, Randall Cobb, he also gives you some special teams ability as well, which is a big facet of the game now, bringing with the new rules and whatnot. So um, he's just a guy that you're familiar with. Bring him in, at least, get some interview stuff going, see what he still has if he's interested in playing for the Cowboys again. I would like that pickup personally.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that one at all. And you get another veteran who has been in this system before, and he's been in the Mike McCarthy offense in the past. So, and he's another thing. I think last year you didn't get to see a lot of him with the Jets because they got a lot of young receivers like with Garrett Wilson and some other guys. So I don't think that he's still a good receiver. It just he didn't get the opportunity to really show what he had. And I think on this team, you would see kind of how he was the year he was here. It may be a little less, but he would be a good quality receiver on this team.
Absolutely.
Who's your third guy?
A third guy, and I kind of cheated. I have four guys that I'm going to talk
Oh,
about.
you can do that.
But yeah, my third guy is going to be Calais Campbell, a
Oh,
guy that can, if you want to play him at edge, he's a ginormous edge, but you can also play him interior defensive line, some three tech. I think he can actually hold up in one tech. Um, he's a big dude.
it is.
And not only that, but he's gonna bring some leadership to that young D tackle room. He's gonna be a guy that's gonna come in and do things the right way. He's been on the Falcons and formerly the Jags. I think that he had a stint with the Ravens as well.
Yeah, yeah, 2 years.
So yeah, I mean, he's a guy that has been a part of some different organizations, seen a lot of football, been in a lot of different schemes, and he's a guy that I think would really work well with a Mike Zimmer. He's one of those guys you want in the building specifically for leadership, but he can also give you some juice on the field, and you're rotating your defensive tackles anyways. So you don't have to play him a lot. Just if you have concerns about his age.
Yeah, I definitely agree. 'Cause I know last year he had like a little over 700 snaps, but you can almost cut that in between maybe 300 to 400 snaps. He's still getting a good quality player with him, and he's a run
Absolutely.
stopper. And you could
Yeah.
have him at that 5 or 6 tech, and yeah, you could just move him around, and he would fit perfect. I'm like, this is the Mike Zimmer guy. Just have him on the team because when you're thinking of 3 techs, you got Osa.
Did I get lost in the sauce right here? It seems like you're completely frozen. Oh man. Let me see if I'm still live on my phone. Oh man. Okay, well, Aaron is paused. It appears that I am still live, so I'm just going to continue on with the show and figure some stuff out. The next guy that I did want to bring up is Linval Joseph. Um, he had some stint with the Eagles, but he was formerly really known for the Vikings, which ties back to Mike Zimmer and just um, you know, just his familiarity with Mike Zimmer. I think that brings a lot to the table. He's a run stopper, not the best, obviously up there in the age department, but um, overall, I think he'd be a solid addition. Another guy that you could throw out there is Al Woods, another defensive interior player. Not the greatest. This is kind of, bargain shopping a little bit right here um, with these guys, but I think that all of them are legitimate options. Um, Stephon Gilmore is another guy at the cornerback position that would be, um, you know, eh, um, you're familiar with him, you know what you have from him, especially if you aren't completely sure with the rehab of Trayvon Diggs. You get another outside cornerback that can hold up, a guy that fit in your scheme last year. Of course, you're going to the new Mike Zimmer scheme, but he's another physical guy on the outside that would work well with Mike Zimmer anyways. So a repairing with him would be nice. Patrick Peterson, a guy that has worked with Mike Zimmer in the past. older guy, but you know, you might have to you might have to get one of these veterans in that room to kind of help with some of the younger guys. Not expect them to play, but in case somebody goes down, you might want to you might want to pick one of these guys up. Um, and then just looking at the free agents, what does Micah Hyde have? You could possibly kick the tires on him. Quandre Diggs as well. Um, Ron Curse, if you really wanted to bring him back, I'm uh, not completely um, not completely on board with that one. Um, but yeah, Rudy says at the mercy of the internet connections. Rudy, let me know if I'm still live. I don't even know what happened with the I don't know what happened with the dealy. Wi-Fi just crashed for some reason, is what Aaron B just said to me. Um, so yeah, if I'm still alive, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna talk about random stuff. Um, Man, I'm excited for the Cowboys training camp, honestly. Um, just the camp battles and these young guys battling it out, duking it out. We let go of a lot of veteran pieces. So you're talking about guys that are, linebackers, Damone Clark versus DeMarvion Overshown. That's going to be a fun one. You're talking about Trey Lance versus Cooper Rush. That's going to be a fun camp battle. You're talking about Kalen Carson, your fourth or fifth round pick, versus possibly Jordan Lewis. Um, just thinking off the bat right here, off the rip, you got to think about Brock Hoffman and Cooper Beebe for that center position. Those are all realistic camp battles that could swing either way. And it's going to be a lot of fun seeing that. I'm interested to see with that wide receiver 5/6 spot. Um, Flournoy, who was one of your later round picks, versus a guy like Jalen Brooks. And even some of those UDFAs we signed last year are still in that kind of mix for possibility of making the team and or being a um, special teams weapon. That's where they're probably going to stand out as, the depth chart on the wide receiver room goes. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting time, especially with the rookie mini camp stuff heading or getting started. That's going to be very interesting to see how they're going to hedge, moving Guyton over from right tackle to left tackle. Also, just seeing what Cooper Beebe has in the interior at center, because he's only ever played tackle and guards, both the guard spots. So seeing how well he is with snapping the ball directly under center, and then the shotgun snaps and all those things are very, very important, especially for the timing of plays. Also, how smart and cerebral is he with setting up the blocking and the protection on any given play? If he gets the tip that a linebacker is going to blitz, then he has to account for that. If they are sending a heavy pressure, so 7 people or 6 people, they have to have somebody accounting for that. So then you have to notify to Dak, hey, they're probably going to send this guy. We need the running back to stay in on this play. Certain things are lost on a lot of the broadcast view that you don't really understand. But it's, how is that transition going to go with Cooper Beebe versus a solid vet in Tyler Biotish from last year? All notes and fun things to take into consideration, truthfully. So I'm excited for Cowboys football. I said it the other day in a tweet with, with every Sunday that passes, the more I just like, man, I wish there was a Cowboys football game on. It's fun, and it's one of those things that you look forward during the week. And I know that we're all fans, and it's fun regardless. So, and here's my guy. He's back in the building. I just kept on rolling, man. I don't know if are we still live? Did you see me just talking about myself, or?
No, I didn't get to see it. For some reason, it just crashed on me. I just paid the bill. I don't know what the heck's going on.
No worries, man. I was kind of talking about the training camp, and Some of the camp battles and stuff I'm looking forward to. And then just generally missing Cowboys football every Sunday that goes by. The more I'm like weary of, man, I wish there was a Cowboys game on, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Oh, and we got a comment from my guy Rudy. He said, "At the mercy of the internet connection."
Yes,
Facts,
sir.
man. I haven't had an internet connection problem on the show in a cool minute, but I appreciate you, EJ, for holding
Yeah.
it down while I was struggling for about was I out for like 5 or 10 minutes.
I don't know. I was just rambling. I was trying to think of some stuff to talk about. So,
That's my bad, bro. I didn't want to. I didn't mean to put you in that position right there.
oh, no, you're good.
All right, so what were we could get it talking to about you're talking about the all season in a little
Yeah, I
bit.
was talking about my last guy that I'm interested in is Linval Joseph, the defensive tackle.
Okay.
Former stint with the Vikings, so he knows Mike Zimmer well. He's a guy that's more known for his run defense. Now, last stint with the Eagles was not all that great as far as run defense. Um, but it's a guy who knows what's expected of him in that Mike Zimmer defense, a guy that he's familiar with, and a guy that you can truly put in that room of a lot of younger guys, and hopefully he can be a leader, a mentor to those guys, and really coach them up, um, and just tell them like, hey, listen, guys, I know that this was your style of doing things. Under Dan Quinn, but this is how Mike Zimmer expects things to be done, and that goes a long way. Just having your own men, and Dan Quinn knows this better than probably anybody else because he brings in his own guys a lot of the time from other teams. So if Mike Zimmer takes on that same kind of philosophy, and he's already brought in Kendricks, if he brings in Joseph, that's just the continual or continuality of that kind of rule, and it helps the younger guys. It helps the current players kind of have that understanding as a peer instead of going up to the head and
Yeah.
asking certain questions. It's easier. It's just more natural, and it flows better.
Yeah, it'd be good to have like you got that guy like you're saying Eric Kendricks that been in the Zimmer role, and now you could have that defense alignment that
Yeah,
could help the younger defensive tackles because you got a lot of youth movement, but you could have that veteran that veteran presence that knows like you're saying that knows how he runs his scheme and everything, kind of being that there Kendricks is basically that player coach on the team and then you could have another player coach on the team that's actually been in that scheme. And like you're saying, that Dan Quinn had his guys, you need to get some of those Zimmer guys in there that could still bring good production, but they're not going to be the superstar on the team, but they could be involved as a role player as well too.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know the last thing we were going to talk about is rookie minicamp is this weekend. So who are like some guys that you want to hear or are looking for that's gonna could stand out this week?
I'm quoting this tweet, so maybe we can get some people in the chat.
Okay.
Um, some people that I'm looking forward to in rookie minicamp is, I mean, the first round pick, Tyler Guyton, how he transitions from right tackle to left tackle. He's been working with Duke Mayweather or Manny Weather a little bit, and just getting his hands right. That was the biggest thing that I saw on film is his hands and also just his angles when he was used as a pulling blocker were just horrible. He's an athletic guy. Like he has all of the tools to be very good. He's just got to get the coaching. And that's where I'm very concerned about our inside in the building coaching and Joe
Mm,
Philbin. I'm not a big believer in him as far as coaching up guys, but if he's with Duke Manyweather, I feel really good. He's got some good teachers just amongst his peers. You're
yeah.
talking about Terrence Steele, Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, those guys I feel good about, and some people like kind of might cringe about the comment about Terrence Steele, like him being a leader. But truthfully, he's a workout warrior. He's a guy that is a good locker room guy, a guy that probably had open arms in bringing this guy in. And sometimes all it takes to really make a lasting impact on somebody is belief in one's, in somebody. And
Yeah.
so if he can just take him under his wing and as just a brother and say, like, listen, man, I know that you had some struggles here and here. This is what helped me. I don't know if it's going to help you. But regardless, man, I believe in you. I'm putting my trust that you're gonna hold down that left side. I'm gonna hold down the right side. Yada yada yada. Just simple conversation. That brotherhood, that camaraderie goes a long way. Another guy that I'm looking forward to seeing in rookie minicamp is Cooper Beebe. Just understanding that he's played some tackle, he's played some guard, but he never truly played snaps at the center position in college. Seeing how his snaps look under center, um, to as far as shotgun snaps, stuff like that. That's very important. Um, I don't think that you can tell a lot about how much he's going to know with setting up protections and whatnot at rookie minicamp, but I'm interested to kind of pick his mind and get some of the interviewers to ask him some tough questions about, hey, what do you hone in on at the line of scrimmage before the play even starts, and how does your play at guard transition inside to center? Can you take some stuff like, were you in charge of this at Kansas State? What just simple questions like that. And then the other one for me is just, what is the plan for Maurice Leofau? And eh, I think personally he's probably going to be more along the lines of a special teamer, core special teamer. Um, because realistically, you're playing nickel, you're playing dime packages a lot in the NFL. You're only typically having two linebackers on the field at any given time. Your top three are going to be Kendricks, Damone Clark, and Overshown. So where does he kind of fit in? You also brought in Damian Wilson. So I'm just interested to see their plan for him and moving forward. How much is he going to really see the field, and how much is he going to be put in the game when it's a rundown versus a pass down? All of those questions are just going to be answered more during the training camp portion of everything. But um, I thought the pick was a little bit of a reach, but I'm excited for the player, and I think that he has some good upside. And later down the road is where you're really going to pay dividends for that player specifically.
Yeah, when it comes to him, he's more like a future pick. Him and Nealon, I really like Nealon though. That's one of the guys I want to see. But
Hmm.
but the main guy I want to see is like Justin Rogers, who he's gonna be competing guys
Mm.
with the Nathan Thomas, and then you got guys like Cooper Beebe. He's gonna be going against those guys in training camp. I want to see what can he do. Is he gonna be just? I feel like this year he's gonna be like a rotational space eater more than anything. But I
Yeah.
just want to see is he gonna be a guy that we could see in the rotation this year, or is he gonna be that guy on practice squad? And the next guy I'm thinking of is Ron Flournoy. I want to I want to see if that is he gonna that be that reliable catcher type of receiver, or but mainly I see him more on special teams. So I want to see kind of what the late round guys can do on this team.
Yeah. No, that's a good point too. And a lot of those younger guys are going to have to be special teamers in order to
Yeah,
make the team. And so, like I said, Leo Fowl, Flournoy, obviously Rogers probably isn't going to be playing special teams, but uh, those two, and in particular, they're going to have to make their mark on the special team side of things. And so the best thing that they can do is show that they are relentless motor wise and they came to work, because those are one of the things that I know special teams coaches eye on, is a guy that will come and work and has a relentless motor, because sometimes you do take a bad angle and sometimes you have to have makeup speed to get back into the
mhm.
play, and not, and how do you work around blocks, stuff like that is just um so little in the whole facet of the game, but so big in one specific play, which is kickoffs and punts and stuff.
Yeah. That you brought up some great points. Like I was listening to was it the Round A podcast? Brock Hoffman's podcast he had with Wanye.
Hmm.
And when Wanye got hurt, was it the year before that, his rookie year, he was scared that he was going to lose his job. But the thing about the coaches had his back because he was showing that he was going to he was showing extra effort during like practice and everything. And then the next year, what we see this year, he brought that versatility. He could play a little bit of corner. He could play a little bit of safety. It's just they got to do those little things to get the attention of the coaches. Like you're saying, even like you're saying, they bring if they have like a bad angle, can they have that
Hmm.
makeup speed to make that transition to make plays? It may not be on the stat board, but the coach is gonna see certain things. And if you can bring up do some things, they're gonna want you on this team. They're gonna
It, and one of the things about this is like you talk about some of the best players on your team is guys that had to grind it out in college to make a name for
mhm,
themselves and eventually get drafted. Um, you're talking about Tyler Smith, Tulsa. Like he had the chance to probably go to an Alabama the next year, but grinded it out at Tulsa. Dak Prescott from Mississippi State.
mhm,
He had to grind it out. He wasn't highly recruited out of high school. Grinded it out. Fourth round pick. Deron Bland, fifth rounder. Small school guy. DeMarcus Lawrence, Boise State. I mean, these are guys that are some of the best players on your teams that aren't from top programs that did have to grind and have to be workout warriors and do the right things and the little things in the locker room to really stand out, and especially in the interview process and stuff like that, which is interesting because this draft that they just got brought in, you're talking about, take Tyler Guyton out of it. You're talking about Marshawn Nealon, small school guy that grinded his way to where he was at and really put himself on the map this past year. Cooper Beebe grinded it out at Kansas State. He was recruited as a defensive tackle, switches to offensive line. Um, he's just willing to do whatever is asked of him from coaches. Um, then who am I forgetting? Kalen Carson,
oh
another
yeah,
guy
yes.
that he's not I wouldn't say small school, but not like highly touted school by any means.
Mm,
And a guy that's physical. He comes to work. He wants to tackle on the outside, not afraid to hit. He's just a guy that wants to compete, and so that's what I think with this draft class they aimed at going and getting is these guys that are the best parts of the current team and that work ethic and that want to get better. They aimed and they saw that in the draft, and that's where the players that they picked.
yeah. When you look, you're looking at the Cowboys roster. Not everybody's from a big name school, like you're saying. These are the guys that are like that worked their way to get there. Because some of them were like your 2 to 3 star guys, and some are. I know there's a couple guys on the team that were walk-ons that were under recruited, and they
Yeah.
had to get their way up there. And that's
Well,
another.
and
I'm a,
and you combat that with like the Eagles. Like how many SEC players did the Eagles have on their roster? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
they
it's loaded.
think that, and this is not anything crazy, and this is probably a good philosophy to abide by. Is like, hey, let's get the best of the best players from these specific regions or conferences, and that's probably good. But when you find a player that's a diamond in the rough, kind of like a Deron Bland, it goes a long way for your team. You found him in the
Mhm.
fifth round; he's already made an All Pro just because you're willing to take that shot on a smaller school guy. The Eagles, they're spending late round picks on Keely Ringo and
Yeah.
my other guy out of Alabama. I forgot his name. The other
Uh,
corner,
what's his
um, Eli
Eli Ricks.
Ricks.
Yeah.
Um, and so they like sure they might hit a diamond in the rough going that route, but they're also pigeon pigeonhole themselves into only looking at a specific conference or whatever. And truthfully, like everybody wants to make it seem like Howie Roseman is so great at drafting. His track record really isn't that great in the draft. Like, look at it, you know?
Yeah, because a lot of the guys he got, yes, they come from Georgia, but they really don't make that much noise their first year. Then you maybe see in like the second or third year, but they're still kind of like rotational guys because you really haven't gotten anything from the Kobe Dean. I know they were really high on getting him, and then you look at it was
Kobe
Jordan
Dean,
Davis,
Jordan
yeah,
Davis,
yeah,
Keely
Nolan
Ringo,
Smith,
Eli Ricks, um, Nolan Smith. There's just a bunch of guys that are from the SEC that haven't really panned out for that team.
yeah. I
It's,
think that. Oh my bad.
no,
I
I was just
just
saying this fly just keeps on landing on my hat.
uh, man, it better not be one of them Eagle got a little camera trying to spy on the show or something.
Oh man.
I see it. I see it right now. But hey, I appreciate you, bro, for being on the show, taking time out of your day, and definitely holding it down while my internet connection was acting up and everything. But
Absolutely, man.
before I let you go, bro, where can they find you at, and where can they give you a following as well as?
Yeah, so Boys in the Zone, that's the letter N, not IN. That's on Twitter, that's on, or well, technically on YouTube. It is YouTube/EJ the number 2 Savage. But you could probably find me searching up Boys in the Zone as well. Um, I really don't use TikTok all that much, nor Instagram. I probably should get up on it, but realistically, I just do this stuff for fun and just to talk about the Cowboys and stay up to date and converse with like-minded people and just get out in the community a little bit more.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you again. This has been Tacos and Touchdown. We'll be back Thursday, same time, 7 p.m. Definitely give my guy EJ a follow. He does bring out some great content, and I hope that fly won't be the next time he has a
Yeah,
show on.
this fly is featuring in the show, man.
Yeah, man, this fly is a little diva, but y'all have a good one. Peace.
Absolutely, man.